Hi, everyone. Welcome to the PowerCat AI webinar's first session, Unlocking the Potential of Copilot Studio. I'm Ashley. I can see we have quite a number of people. We're so excited to have you. So yeah, no, I just want to say these are our first in the session, and we're excited to have you. I'm Ashley, and I'm one of the hosts. And I'll just be answering questions in the background and helping everything run smoothly. And we have two other speakers for you today. We have Pavan Taparia and Vasavi Baviri-Sethi, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Thank you, Ashley. I'll go first. My name is Pavan Taparia. I'm a principal product manager in the customer advisory team focusing on Copilot Studio growth. Very excited to be kicking off this inaugural session with all of you and introducing over to you, Vasavi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vasavi Baviri-Sethi. I'm also on the PowerCat team. We are the customer advisory team all up for Power Platform, and many of you might have interacted with us through many channels. In my current role within PowerCat, I'm more focused on developing content as well as managing content for our scale programs like Kickstarter and this one, our AI webinars that we are launching today, and super excited for this.
Awesome. No, thank you guys. We're really happy to have you guys speaking today.
We have a packed agenda today. I'll start by giving you the business, like how businesses are essentially transforming, their processes with agents. I'll cover the different tools Microsoft allows for anyone to build these agents and how these tools are better together. We'll hear about the customers and what they love about building these agents and the impact that they're seeing. And then finally, our amazing Vasavi will demonstrate how to kind of get started building agents. We've reserved some time for answering questions. So if you have those questions, please feel free to put those in your AMA tool, as Ashley indicated earlier. All right, let's get started. So, our customers have been busy. We've been seeing these customers build amazing agents that span a wide variety of use cases, right from helping customers self-serve and resolve issues themselves, to building agents that increase efficiency in various functions like HR, IT, right? And there are many more. There are a few interesting things for you to kind of look at on this slide to just get your ideas flowing. And all of these have delivered some significant ROI within your organization. So here are a few things. One of the things that you must think about is how do you prioritize the array of use cases that you're seeing here that truly understand that they are ready to be transformed within your organization. So, how do you prioritize these things? Well, I have three questions that you probably want to ask for deciding the use case you want to go. First, what specific business problem or inefficiency are you looking to solve with AI? You must clearly articulate the problem, who will benefit from this, and what does success look like? Second, which areas of the business have the highest potential for impact through some sort of conversational automation? Is it the HR team? Is it the support team, right? Like there are many departments that can benefit from this because this use cases span across. Look for areas that have workflows that are resource intensive, repetitive, and prone to errors. And look beyond your own department, as I indicated earlier as well. The best outcomes that we see customers delivering success with is one that requires you to collaborate across your org boundaries. And then the third thing is, do you have the necessary data and the right buy-in from your stakeholders to kind of build these kind of AI solutions at scale effectively? Success with AI really depends on reasoning over high quality data and requires buy-in from these key stakeholders across the organizations. And you'll see some examples of real impactful use cases, require this kind of collaboration that I'm talking about. I put a link to the implementation guide, which is an excellent resource for you to start your planning and execution journey. So as a company, Microsoft is committed towards our vision of empowering every employee with a Copilot and to transform every business process with agents. And our tools or our range of tools enable organizations to build agents that vary in levels of complexity and capabilities that depend on your organization's needs. When we look at all these customers building agents, we see a few trends emerge. Many customers start their agent building journey with building simple retrieval agents that can kind of reason over and answer questions based on your data, based on your knowledge. Think of these as those HR policy agents that can answer benefit questions, or those retail agents that can answer customer questions and find the right products and services that your organizations have to offer. The next type of agents that we see customers build are task-based agents. These agents allow the customers to build agents that act on behalf of their end users. Imagine placing orders, making appointments, booking a vacation, all through the power of natural language. These two are table stakes for any conversational AI platform. But why stop there? And we aren't stopping there. We are now enabling customers to build autonomous agents, ones that can be triggered through external events. Say an employee has joined your team, or a customer initiates a return. Autonomous agents can create autonomically dynamic plans to run through multi-step workflows. Imagine these agents that can process orders, do inventory management, trigger orders with your suppliers when your stock levels are low, or even connect employees on a recurring basis with the right mentors and training to suit their development plans. The good news is that Microsoft has the right tools for you to build these types of agents. Copilot Studio is the agent building platform at Microsoft, and we've integrated this product's capabilities to offer a range of building experiences to suit your organization's expertise and maximize the impact within the organization. For example, for information workers, Agent Builder, powered by Copilot Studio, is fully embedded within Teams and enables these information workers to build agents using simple instruction. For our makers, the full Copilot Studio experience enables you to build agents with your own knowledge, wherever it may be, trigger actions on your own internal APIs, or even deploy these agents across channels where your customers are communicating. And for developers that are looking to build and integrate custom AI components for tailored solutions, Azure AI Foundry and Copilot Studio are better together and is the preferred approach to building these agents. The best part about the tools that I talked about earlier is that they are better together. So we all know about M365 Copilot, which instantly transforms information workers to be their personal best in productivity. And when they are ready to create very specific, repeatable task or function using an agent, like writing coach or a market survey agent, they can use Agent Builder powered by Copilot Studio to reason over their own enterprise data or public websites. Once these agents need to integrate with other knowledge sources like ServiceNow, SAP, or need to be hosted on multiple channels, our customers can build those experiences into Copilot Studio. And then when those developers want to build those custom AI solutions and integrate them into Copilot Studio or make Copilot Studio available in their pro-code solutions, these solutions all work better together. We believe the best place for you to build these agents in a world where you will be building a lot of them is in Copilot Studio, which is our low-code, fully hosted agent building platform. Whether it's building for your own channels, your own websites, or extending M365 Copilot. You can start by simply describing what you want. You can add triggers so that these agents can run autonomously and orchestrate multi-step workflows. You can reason over knowledge and create those retrieval agents that I talked about, whether the knowledge is a public website, a file, a database, or even a third-party service. Beyond knowledge, you can even create rule-based topics to ensure that your agents can not only adapt to your business processes, but also complete tasks on behalf of your customers. And once your agent is ready, publish it to the channel where your customers are at. And with built-in rich analytics to get deeper insights on how your knowledge is performing and what questions your agent is able to respond to, you have the ability to fully fine-tune what your agent does and performs for your organizational needs. And we're also the only company that offers this continuum of agent building tools that work better together. So your investment in Copilot is safe, even if your requirements exceed current product capabilities. Let me switch gears a bit. Let me talk about the momentum we're seeing from our customers. Already, over 100,000 companies are using Copilot Studio to create their own agents for enterprise transformation in just about every language, every country, and every industry. Agents for their employees, agents for customers, agents for B2B scenarios, and more. And across all those use cases, there are a few of them, a few positive themes originate. What customers love is that they can build these agents and deploy them really quickly. They love the significant return on investment and the cost savings that they can achieve as a result. They love that they can connect to their own knowledge sources and existing backends without having to move their data. They love how easy it is to build a state-of-the-art generative system without having to train custom models or going deep into the complexities of AI. They love that generative AI exists, but they also love the fact that they can keep tight control over specific flows and curate them to meet their business needs. And finally, they love how all of this comes packaged together in a geo-distributed, secure, and compliant SaaS that can be governed using enterprise-grade solutions and full security and admin controls. Let me take an example of a few customers. Pets at Home. First use case was that they built a retail fraud detection agent that autonomously processed data in real time to prevent fraud. This single agent increased their velocity in processing cases by 677%. They are now looking to bring this technology to other parts of the business. Virgin Money needed a way to help their customers feel comfortable building and completing digital banking actions. And so their award-winning agent called Redeye was able to answer 90% of the customers' questions. BYU Pathway was able to start saving 150 human hours with the agent that they built in just a single week. And Cineplex finally went and created a customized agent that went beyond the traditional chatbots to assist their own customer requests to reduce handle time from the 5 to 15 minutes per request to less than a minute, typically 30 seconds. There are many more stories on this on the website link that I put below. All right, we've talked enough. We're now ready for Vasavi to come and show us how to build these agents and how to get started in Copilot Studio. Vasavi, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pawan. This was like great introduction to Copilot Studio, and I'm really excited to take some of these topics that we just covered, more specifically about agents, and show them in action. So I'm going to do live demos of how you can actually create these retrieval-based agents, task agents, autonomous agents, all tied to a real-world example. So with that, let me get started with my screen share and go into the live demo. Before I move forward, just want to confirm, is everybody able to hear me okay? Any concerns? All good? See a couple of thumbs up. Perfect. Thank you. So what I'm going to try and do here is I imagine like I'm working in a furniture retail store and I want to build a furniture retail assistant. What I'm expecting here my furniture assistant to do is maybe be able to answer very simple questions about like the furniture products available. I also want my agent to be able to help answer more specific questions like, hey, will a particular sofa fit in a requested or a mentioned space? So without much delay, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, the screen I'm sharing here, I've opened the M365 chat experience. What I'm going to show here is how you can build an agent using this agent builder experience in the M365 chat. On my right pane, I see I have options where I can either get existing agents added and use them for my day-to-day job, Or I have the ability to go create an agent here, and I'm going to go click this create agent. And in this experience, you see how I can not just configure directly. I can, with natural language, I'm able to interact in this experience, provide my description, and go create a new agent of my choice. So without much further delay, let me tell in this experience that, hey, your furniture retail assistant, and exactly the scenario that I was mentioning about. So as I sent this response, the interface here is reasoning over the description that I've provided. It comes back with like, hey, do you want furniture assistant as the name? That sounds good. So let me confirm on the name here. And of course, it needs further instructions on what this furniture assistant is supposed to do. I have my instructions pre-ready. I'm telling it like, hey, you have a knowledge and SharePoint source that you're going to use for your for building for your experience here, and giving more specific instructions here. And in a moment, let us go into the SharePoint site where I do have this Contoso products in my document library. And what I've tried creating is all my sample products are in the Contoso product data. And I'm also providing extensive information about, like whether pickup is available, information about insurance, warranty, return, replacement, refund policies, or if you want to go buy secondhand products, right? All this data is available for me in SharePoint. So here now the agent is ready, up and running. So I can further go into the configure tab. You see how it picked the name furniture assistant that it was recommending based on my confirmation. It created the description, it added all the instructions that I provided. And now I can point this agent to the knowledge that I was talking about earlier in the SharePoint site. So I'm able to quickly browse my SharePoint libraries and select this particular Contoso products folder, which contains all the data related to my furniture products. And that's it, right? That's exactly what my agent needs now. It has everything ready. And you see how based on the instructions, based on the knowledge that I've uploaded, it's come up already with some, out of the box prompts. I can either use these or use more specific prompts where I want to ask my agent like, hey, what kind of furniture do you have? And you see how my agent is reasoning over the content that it was provided. It's reasoning over the instructions. So based on that and the data that is available, it gave me back the results from my, you can see how it references the document that I was using to get all the information about the available products. Super easy, right? I didn't have to like do any coding. With just some basic instructions, I was able to get my agent to work and give me the data that I need. Now, we did give our agent an additional instruction. So let me try this, like, hey, will this modern coffee table actually fit in a room that is 100 by 100? You see how quickly my agent came back with a response saying, yes, it's going to fit because the coffee table actually only measures so and so. You see how the agent is intelligently able to respond. It's taking the instructions that I gave and it knows kind of how to answer to a specific question. And if you go back and see my instruction, I just told you need to do this, but I didn't tell you like how to go learn mathematics or calculate and everything, right? So this is a super quick way of how you can go do this. Perfect. We have everything ready here. And now perfect. So technically, I should be able to click create here. Seems like I have exceeded some limits here. So let's just remove that and get our agent to save in a moment. Okay, perfect. Yes, so I'm going to go click create and we have our agent being created in the background. And once this agent is created, you can also see how easily I'm able to share this agent with it's available for me to just use as it is. Or imagine in a very simple scenario, right? Like here, I'm coming in, exploring, trying to build something that works for me. But maybe I want to, once I feel confident, I want to share this agent with a few specific folks in my team. So I can do that through security groups. or I can share it with anyone in my organization if I think that this is going to benefit for everybody. For now, we'll just leave it at here. But as you can see, once I've created the agent will also start appearing in the right pane for me to go and further interact. It's probably just going to take a second. I'll refresh it for us. This is a live demo, so I'm a little nervous. I'm constantly praying to the demo gods, hoping that, it works as expected. So very quickly, hopefully, yes, here is the furniture assistant that we just created. It's available for me to test and use it and ask more questions, and it's just going to work fine. So this is the M365 Agent Builder experience that we all have been talking about. We saw how quickly it is easy to build this agent with just some instructions. And now let me actually switch over to Copilot Studio. But before that, as I'm here, right? So when I click on this create an agent and look at my furniture assistant here, eventually you will see an option where you can take this agent that you build in your M365 experience and edit it in Copilot Studio. As far as I know, it should light up very soon. I don't have that available in my demo environment, but you see how easy it is to start with something small in the Agent Builder experience and switch over to Copilot Studio. Okay, so here I'm in my Copilot Studio experience. To save time for us, I haven't gone in and started building the same agent in Copilot Studio, but technically you can continue to edit that same agent in Copilot Studio in near future. But for now, I went ahead and manually added some description instructions, and I have the exact same agent knowledge added from Contoso products, everything ready here for me to get going. So in my first scenario where I called out about this furniture retail assistant, I was only trying to get some information from SharePoint as a knowledge source. But if you want to enhance your agent with additional knowledge sources, additional actions, or even publish them beyond your SharePoint channel, you can easily switch to Copilot Studio and continue enhancing your agent. So I won't go super deep on some of the things, but you see how you can even design custom topics in this experience. And going into knowledge, beyond SharePoint, earlier we saw only SharePoint was our option where you could browse the files and point it to a particular location. But here I can either point to public websites, or I can add Dataverse also as one of my knowledge source using structured data. So first, let's go with Dataverse. But imagine in my scenario, beyond getting the product information, I also want to be able to use my agent as I'm interacting with the agent, right? I want to quickly be able to say like, hey, get me order information or get me information about a customer. So I want to be able to easily do that with my agent. And similarly, I may want to look at incidents in ServiceNow. So you clearly see how going into the advanced tab, I can add more enterprise data connections. If you have knowledge in externally in Azure, you can bring that into your Copilot Studio agent and get your agent to reason over it and answer any questions. Similarly, even with ServiceNow, I am able to quickly go in and create a connection to my ServiceNow instance. I have a bunch of incidents in ServiceNow already created, and I'm able to just go in here. I have the connection established already. I'm just saying next. And as I'm adding my ServiceNow connection, let me tell you what I'm trying to do here, right? So I look in the incident table. Basically, I'm adding a step to my agent where I can connect my agent to the incidents table in ServiceNow and get my agent to reason over some of the incidents. You see how, give me a second, so I make sure I have the right prompt here. Perfect. So this knowledge description is super important in the sense that your agent will understand when to use this particular knowledge, especially in the runtime, right? So without it, always good to, go here, review the description that you provide to the agent. So your agent knows when to trigger this particular knowledge, when to look for the data or content within this knowledge. So it's good as it is, but I want to explicitly go call out like, hey, use this knowledge source when you want to fetch particular information about incidents. And then here I'm able to just go in and add ServiceNow connection, ServiceNow as a knowledge to my agent. This might take a couple minutes, and similarly, I thought it will at least close here, but similarly, I'll show you a step where you can add Dataverse. So once you have Dataverse as well, okay. So similarly, I was talking about order and customer information that I have in Dataverse. So I have this product order table that I've created in Dataverse, which contains information about all the orders. I have 2 orders in here placed by 2 different customers. One is Pawan and one more is Emily. Sorry that I don't have the order, the customer name, but I have more specifically just the customer ID in here. And along with this, I can even just add the data from customer table. But for now, let me just go ahead and add the order table here. Similarly, we can go in and add the customer table, which contains the customer information. What I'm going to do here, this probably is going to take a moment here. So using the exact same steps, I have pre-built part of this agent so that we can, skip waiting for the ServiceNow connector to get ready, as well as skipping through the processes of adding Dataverse customer and order table. So let me show you in the knowledge. Previously, we just had Condoso products as our knowledge, but I've now added the product order customer tables from Dataverse, and I've been able to add the incident table in ServiceNow. Additionally, I want to instruct my agent saying like, hey, now you can go use the data from ServiceNow and retrieve and display that data. So I just went in and added this one instruction. And when specifically a customer comes in and asks for orders placed by so-and-so customer, I want to be able to use that customer information to go and fetch the related order ID. So all of this is purely in my instructions, and you see how my agent is ready with these steps, and let's just go and test them. So I have this question like where I'm asking my agent, because I'm dealing more with the furniture. I want to go fetch all incidents related to any product missing part, and you can see how my agent is going to reason over the knowledge that is available to it. In the activity map, the good part is it immediately starts showing you what your agent is doing, right? You clearly see how transparent it is in terms of how your agent is working behind the scenes. It identified all the available knowledge sources, and it reasoned over all these knowledge available, and it knows that it has to go look in the incident. That is where you see how the output is from the incident, which is our ServiceNow knowledge source. And it was able to find 3 incidents related to product missing part, and how easily it was able to get that data for us, right? So this is how we were, beyond SharePoint, we were able to connect with ServiceNow and also reason over the data in ServiceNow, and our agent is easily able to handle that. And similarly, we added the customer and order tables in Dataverse. And let's quickly see. I have one of my customer as Pawan Taparia in my system. So I want to check what were the orders placed by Pawan in the last 30 days.
So I just wanted to wanted to pause here, and I want to celebrate what Vasavi was able to do in just a few clicks. She was able to bring in a whole bunch of knowledge sources across the organization, connect it all together with simple instruction, and now she's able to simply reason over all of that knowledge with single prompts. That is power. All right, back to you, Vasavi.
Thank you, Pawan. Yeah, I was really nervous, and Pawan and a few other folks know how nervous I was to get this running live since yesterday, right? Like since last couple of days. So super excited to see how well our agent is performing here. So similarly, for the second example, I wanted to fetch information about orders placed by Pawan in the last 30 days. And you see how it looked at the knowledge sources available to it, and it was able to identify that it needs to go into the Dataverse customer and order table because it used the customer name, fetch the customer information like ID, it used the customer ID, and then fetch the related product order. And there's no magic here, right? I did not write a flow. So if you see in here, I'm not calling any flows. All I did was add these 4 knowledge sources, and I have just provided clear instructions of what my agent needs to do when somebody asks about orders placed for a customer. So you see how simple it is to take simple language and convert that into outcome here. Perfect. And with this, we kind of like are able to showcase what we are able to do with retrieval agents, right? You are able to fetch the data needed and share that with the agent is able to fetch the data that you need for you. I want to show how with these agents, right, as you build them, you can even publish them across multiple channels. In the first demo, like where I was showcasing the agent builder experience, you started off in the M365 chat space. But here in Copilot Studio, you have the option to publish over any channels, including the Teams plus Microsoft 365. Publishing to Teams channel has always existed, but I do want to highlight this new option where you can now make your agent available in M365 Copilot by selecting this, which I have already selected here. You actually can see this agent now in your M365 chat experience. So I'll just continue here on web. So technically what I should be doing here is, as I have my agent ready, I can click on share and say I've shared this with Pawan. So Pawan would just have a link, and using that link, Pawan is able to access this agent in his M365 chat experience here. But otherwise, I can also go into Teams here, and I've already added this on my M365 chat experience. So I can just open it here or in Copilot. Sorry, I may have uninstalled it, but otherwise I can. Let me take a step back. I might be super confusing here. So go into your Teams plus M365, make the agent available in M365 Copilot, and you should be able to add that as an agent in your Teams, and as well as like by just sharing that agent, you have access to that agent and you can go open and use it in your M365 experience. So quickly switching back from here, you see how easy it is to build these custom engine agents, either using the agent builder experience or Copilot Studio, and you can get them to show up on the right side pane for any of the users who have access, can go leverage those agents for their day-to-day jobs. With that, let me quickly switch over to some of like the key takeaways here before we move into a poll and continue with our demos for the next set of task-based agents and autonomous agents. Cool. So in the first part of using the agent builder experience and Copilot Studio to create these M365 chat experience agents, we learned how even simple information workers without any coding knowledge can build these agents all by using very simple natural language description. You saw how these agents were grounded in your enterprise data with irrespective of, right, we started off with SharePoint, we explored Dataverse, we explored ServiceNow, it could be Salesforce, or it could be in Azure. You can bring in the data from anywhere within your enterprise and get your agent to leverage that. And the best part here is this is included as part of M365 Copilot, or it was available to you with Copilot Chat with more metered pricing. So super easy to build. Definitely, I'm pretty sure a lot of us, want to build agents for our day-to-day purposes where you can easily go build these so you don't have to manually search inside a document in terms of like, whether it's the furniture available or for specific data. You want somebody to get you this data more easily. Oh, and one more important thing that I missed calling out while building here, right? So you also see how I'm not using the default environment, but actually using a different environment and able to build this agent and still publish into the M365 chat space. So this was a question as we were doing some Kickstarter workshops or in general, right? Given the challenge with default environment where every organization might have stricter data loss prevention policies applied there, you see how you can build in any environment but still open that up in the M365 chat experience for your employees. So moving on, in the we covered what we can do with retrieval agents. And let me tell you, based on what we see from what our customers are doing, it's not always retrieval agents that our customers are trying to build, right? Getting that information is amazing, but we have noticed how our customers want to go one step ahead, where along with being able to retrieve information, they want the agents to execute some tasks, right? Take some actions. And you can do that super easily with the agent experience in Copilot Studio, where you can add actions. You have like 1,500 plus connectors that are available to you that you can connect to and act on them. Additionally, you can use Power Automate Cloud Flows to build more advanced logic for your business. You can add a custom connector. You can add directly connected to a REST API. So all of this is possible just through actions within Copilot Studio. So let's look at, in my scenario that I was talking about, the furniture retail assistant, right? We already have this retrieval agent. We built it with how it can fetch data from 4 different products. Now let's see if my agent can further take some actions using the information that it has already gathered. What I'm going to do here is I want my agent to help not just retrieve this information, but also initiate return requests for me. So I should be able to just tell, hey, initiate return requests, and the agent should know what it needs to do in order to go return that request. So it can at least give me the steps needed so I don't have to go figure it out manually always. Pawan comes and asks me like, hey, I want to return this product. I don't have to go in manually and look for, oh, what was the order ID? What was the product that was purchased? Is it in the return or refund period, right? So there's a lot of manual effort that I need to do. I don't want to do that. I want to delegate that to my agent. And here's where I'm adding an action to call that. In this case, I have pre-created this initiator return, which is a Power Automate Cloud Flow. All I'm going to do is this initiator return takes in a couple of inputs. It takes what is the order ID, what is the order date, who is the customer, and then it gives me back with a confirmation number saying like, hey, here's your return confirmation number, along with a date by which the customer needs to return the product. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add this action to my agent, but I also want to make sure I'm giving correct instructions to this agent so my agent knows when to go fetch this or use this action as it is orchestrating a plan based on all its available knowledge and actions. So let's go ahead and just add this action here. It might take a couple of seconds, but you see how it's using that action to understand how it needs to reason over and leverage that action. And switching back to my overview to look at my instructions, I haven't updated anything with respect to my instructions here. This is exactly how it was when we started building that retrieval agent, added ServiceNow, added the Dataverse knowledge from customer and order. Without giving any further instructions, let me actually just type this message to my agent saying that, hey, Pawan would like to return a recently purchased accent chair. It has worked well for me. Sometimes it has not worked well. So I'm really going to experiment here. You see how very quickly, even before I could get to what it's doing, it has an outcome for me here. So I just said that Pawan would like to return a recently purchased accent chair. And you see how this is still running in the context. It has the context of the customer name, the order it fetched, and everything. So without much next steps, what it was able to do is it initiated this Cloudflow to return the product. So it fetched the order ID, which was already there. It provided, got the order date, it got the customer name, initiated that flow, and the flow got me back the response that, hey, here's the number, and this order needs to be returned by April 5th. So you see how my agent was able to leverage the context that it was already provided, passed it on, used that for slot filling, and filled it in this initiate a flow return request. And you can also clearly see how across these knowledge sources, it's able to fetch the data for where we got the data from the customer table, then we got the data from order. It was able to stitch all of these together. It orchestrated a plan that it needs to first get the data from customer, then the order, and then go initiate the return. And all of this was without me providing any instruction saying like, hey, when somebody asks you to initiate a return, go fetch this information and then initiate that return request, right? Of course, if I do want to make sure my agent is working very well, I can go in and then update the instructions specifically saying like, hey, when asked to initiate a return, go do these steps. And if the price is under $500, then go ahead and confirm the return here. So you see how easily I was able to not just fetch knowledge, but also create agents instantly here. Before I move on, I'm just thinking, am I missing any important steps here? Pawan, is there anything else that you would like to add from a task agent perspective before we move on to our takeaways and autonomous agents?
No, just Vasavi, I wanted to kind of illustrate what you've done already really well is the fact that, creating, and then based on the questions that people are asking, and if you click on actions, if you just want to quickly click on that, any of those 1,500 data connectors that are already available can be used to bring in an action conversationally and contextually in Copilot Studio. All you need to do is use those magic words to make sure they get executed correctly and the slots that they are expecting get filled conversationally. In the past, what you needed to do, and many platforms still require you to go do that, is to create and wrap these actions into like, let me collect these 5 questions and then do data type matching and then call the actions contextually. And then what if the slot changes, right? Like what I say, sorry, I didn't mean yesterday, I mean 2 days from now. That just is automatically handled. So that's the power of having a intelligent platform where you're building these agents. And we're going to continue pushing the technology to make this even more simpler, even this more intuitive. So yeah, I think we can head over to the takeaways.
Yeah, no, thank you for adding that additional context. That's super helpful. And additionally, on top of it, like previously, we saw how you could publish this agent like to Teams plus M365, but you have the ability to publish to any of these available channels. So your user can interact with them on a telephone chat or like a chat on website or on a mobile application, right? So you have these channels available for you to go publish your agent. With that, quickly, as we wrap up the task-based agents, let's look at the key takeaways. Sorry, I think this was still, yes. So we were able to see how we can easily expand the agents, get those agents to answer beyond just questions. They were able to even interact with the line of business applications. So we saw how you can publish to any channel using Copilot Studio, as well as we saw how, the number of actions are, we have 1,500 plus connectors, and beyond that, there are actions like, you can bring in the Cloudflow, you can add a AI Builder prompt, or you can bring in a custom connector or a custom API. All of this is possible with your task-based agents. And we have seen customer examples, like as Pawan showed us before in some of our customer examples, we have seen how a lot of our customers are thinking beyond retrieval agents to get the agents to do certain actions for them. And as we switch before going into the autonomous agents, I would love to get into this next poll. Okay. So we are at the same agent. We learned how to, build retrieval-based agents. We learned how to build task-based agents. Ignore the name here. It's the furniture agent that we're building here, right? So just ignore the name there for now. But we saw how we built the task-based agent to think a little bit further to do actions. And we were also talking about, multiple customers wanting to do that. One such customer was Cineplex, who actually built the initiate return request for their guest service folks, and it saved tons of time for their guest service folks. So rather than them going to do these initiating the return request manually, they were able to automate that part of initiating the return request, and it saved a ton of time, as I was calling out. However, when you're building these task-based agents, we saw how you can deploy them to multiple channels. And you also see sometimes the challenge can be that, your customers don't always interact with you through just one form. It could be a phone call, it could be an email, it could be like a chatbot on a web app, right? So there are multiple ways that your customers interact, and it's harder for you to kind of address and manage responses across all those channels. That is where you can think about using autonomous agents to actually build. That is where you can actually think about building these autonomous agents, where you can use your autonomous agents to handle some of those processes for you. So the way these autonomous agents are going to work is just with a simple trigger, right? In my scenario, in the case of the furniture retail store that I was talking about, I was chatting with a customer and then use that information to go initiate the return request. But what if, the customer is struggling to even get on a call and do all of this? The customer can just send out an email into the support inbox saying, hey, I bought this product, but I'm not happy with it, and I would just love to go return that product, right? So even that could be a trigger for us to initiate the return request, and you don't have to wait all the way until you do a call or any other channel to respond to your customer. So let's look at how we can make this existing agent that we've already created into an autonomous agent. So anytime a new email arrives, even just the email will trigger off the whole process that we are talking about. So switching back to the demo here, we are in the same demo that we already created, where we added the last action, initiate a return, whenever a customer asks for a return. So next, what I'm going to do is, in Autonomous Agent, this feature is still in preview, and you see how along with adding knowledge and actions, you can now add a trigger for your agent. And the trigger that I'm going to add here is when a new email arrives in this particular inbox. Let me just fix the name here. I don't want to use the V3, but I can leave my trigger as is. When a new email arrives in inbox, you see how it has signed into my Outlook, and I'm going to ask it to look explicitly for emails coming into my inbox. And as easy as that, I can create this trigger.
So the other one thing that I wanted to just include is again, those 1,500 data connectors and the triggers that already are available are ones that you can automatically build these autonomous agents around. These triggers contextually, with the necessary information, can trigger these agents so that the agents can carry on with their next things. We also added if you click on the add trigger again, we also added a few others that are more recurrent, time-based. So if you wanted something to automatically run every morning or every month, that's possible too. I just wanted to kind of show that these things can just run contextually at any given point in time based on any external event. Yeah. So back to you, Vasavi.
Perfect. No, thanks, Pawan, for adding that additional context on more available triggers here. And as Pawan was sharing that, we see how our trigger was already added. I haven't had any emails received in the inbox since I created this trigger, so you see how this is still empty. But what I'm going to do now is, along with adding this trigger, I do want to instruct my agent explicitly saying, hey, not just when asked to initiate a return, I want to call out explicitly saying, hey, when asked to initiate a return, or when an email arrives asking to return the product, follow these steps. And I want to add one additional step at the end of it, along with, confirming with the customer, send an email confirmation to the customer, including the return confirmation and the date by which the customer needs to return the product. So I'm just updating the instructions so my agent knows when to do what. Quickly go ahead and save the instructions that I've added. I have added this instruction to send a confirmation email. So let's go ahead and quickly add an action to do that as well. We saw how we can add multiple actions here, and one of them is sending an email. So I'm searching for send an email action. I find this in the Office 365 Outlook. And again, as always, think about what is the description that you're going to provide for your action, because it will really help your agent to know when it needs to come use this action, right? If you don't provide a detailed description, it may be confused. Email confirmation to the customer. So I've updated the description saying like, hey, use this operation to send a confirmation email to the customer who initiated the return request. And in this case, I'm going to use the Copilot author authentication instead of end user authentication here. And that is all, right? I'm not going to go provide any specific inputs here. I'm not going to say, whom do you explicitly need to send the message? What should be the subject? What should be the body? Nothing. I'm just creating this action and adding it. And now we have our agent ready with the trigger added and the action is getting added. So let's see if we can, send an email into the inbox, into my inbox here, and see if this agent gets triggered. So I have another email that I'm going to use to send this email to my test account in the demo tenant. So I'm just saying, hey, I'm Emily Brown. I recently purchased a product and I want to go return that. So the email is sent from my Emily Brown account. Let's just give a second so the email shows up here. Perfect. We see that email in the Vasavi test account, right? So I've received this email from my customer, Emily, who was wanting to return that product. I think this was, yes, this is the screen that we were still at. Let's see if it got this trigger automatically. So today is March 5th, and at 10:08 a.m., we have received this email, and here's the trigger, and here's the live moment, praying again to the demo gods, hoping this works as expected. Okay, we see that the trigger is detected. And as a first step, it is looking through the knowledge sources based on the instructions that we provided. Again, the same sequence of steps, right? From the email, it got the customer name, that is Emily Brown, and it knew that it had to go look into the knowledge sources to go figure out who is that customer and what is the product that the customer ordered. So I'm showing that here again. So first it looks into the available Dataverse knowledge, product order, customer, identifies the product order based on the customer name and the customer ID. And you see how it initiated the return flow. In this example, you see Emily was the one who sent the email, not Pawan. So it was able to fetch from the data that Emily, ordered so-and-so product on February 13th, and here's the order ID. So it initiated the return request, got all the confirmation details, and finally sending the confirmation email to the customer asking, you need to return the product by so-and-so date. So you see how the agent was able to kind of orchestrate through all these actions without a lot of, just through PR instructions. It was able to get all of these. And you quickly, I know we spent a good amount of time on the demos, and at 10 o'clock, 10:10 this time, you see how the customer also received this email asking to return by the specified date. So with autonomous agents, you can think about like how you can automate your repetitive tasks, even like simple initiate return request. You could automate that and save a lot of time for yourself. With that, Pawan, over to you if you want to add something more here, and we can get into the next parts of the session.
Yeah, just key takeaways. I think, Vasavi, we just basically agents can initiate these tasks autonomously based on any external trigger. You have full visibility on what the agent is doing, its actioning, the deep reasoning that it's going to be employing, and then you can automate parts of the experience as you need it, right? So you could have a very healthy, handoff, hand back between agents and humans for your business processes. So hopefully you were able to see how this platform is evolving so that those use cases that we kind of, flirted at the start of the session gets you an idea of how to go build them in the tool. So it was an amazing set of demos to kind of show the full spectrum. And hopefully you guys are now energized to go in and really think about how you can kind of start building these things.